Hi guys, so I'm going to read DC Comics Presents number 28. So DC Comics presents Superman and Supergirl, together against the menace called Mongol. But can even the galaxy's two greatest superstars hope to survive against the power of villainy most terrible weapon, War World? DC Comics proudly presents Superman and Supergirl, created by Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster. Together in an adventure that spans the universe, they soar through the infinite vastness of space, as if it were their natural element. And perhaps, in a way, it is. For their home was a planet light years distant from our own, a world destroyed in a shattering paroxysm of pure primal fury. And now the galaxy's two greatest defenders hurtle across the void to prevent their adopted planet Earth, and untold other worlds as well, from suffering a similar terrible fate. Somewhere in the darkness, it is waiting, the most devastating weapon ever conceived. War World. Len Wein, scripter. Jim Starlin and Romeo Tanghal, artists. Ben Oda, letterer. Jerry Serp, colorist. Julia Schwartz, editor. Stay alert, Cousin Kara. Mongol is probably expecting us.
I don't doubt it. From what you've told me, that space skunk plans ahead. I mean, first he kidnaps Lois Lane, Jimmy Olsen, and Steve Lombard to ensure you do his bidding. Then he sends you on a scavenger hunt halfway across the cosmos to obtain a certain crystal key for him. A key that an ancient alien race called the Largus had placed under the sacred protection of your old Justice League buddy, John Johns, the Martian Manhunter. John put up a heroic battle to save the key, but in the end, he was simply no match for you, just as you proved to be no match for Mongol. Even after you'd rescue your three friends, Mongol took advantage of your combat fatigue to zap you one. Then he and the crystal key simply disappeared.
And that's why I came looking for you, Kara. After I return Lois and the others to Earth. We've got to find Mongol and the key, before he can use it to unleash War World.
Just what is this War World anyway?
An artificial satellite, designed by the bloodthirsty Warzone. Its surface is dotted with mile-high missiles and macro-laser cannons, capable of decimating entire worlds. Huge nuclear engines enable the satellite to traverse space at incredible speeds. But according to John Johns, this is where it was hidden.
There's just one little thing wrong with what you're saying, cousin. War World isn't here.
Then we're too late. Mongol must have gotten here before us and used the key to bypass War World's defenses. Now there isn't a thing in all the universe that can stop him.
Well, I know two things who are certainly going to try. You said this War World was propelled by huge nuclear engines, right? That means they'll leave a trail of sorts we should be able to spot with our microscopic vision. There, a stream of subatomic particles, left behind by the satellite's exhaust. Take a look.
Great stars! It's heading straight for the Rador galaxy.
Then what are we waiting for? Let's find that overblown satellite and smash it.
Don't be so overconfident, Supergirl. It's better to be safe than slaughtered.
What's there to be afraid of? We're invulnerable, aren't we?
Invulnerability is a relative term, Kara. Aside from kryptonite and magic, we've never come across anything that could really do us physical harm. But then, we've never come up against anything quite like Warworld. I've got the uncomfortable feeling that this time we may have met our match.
Point well taken. I'll remember that. Why have you suddenly stopped?
It's Warworld. I've spotted it. Only a couple of light years away. It's about to pass in front of that white dwarf star and... Great row! It's not possible! Nothing artificial could be that huge. Warworld didn't pass in front of the star. It passed behind it. Oh. And the dwarf star's overwhelming gravitational pull had absolutely no effect on it.
Well, you certainly weren't exaggerating, cousin. That space ball gives a whole new meaning to the world big.
This definitely calls for a little discretion. We better check the satellite out from here, using our telescopic vision. As 2 smooth brows knit in concentration, and 2 pairs of piercing blue eyes pierce the infinite miles, to behold an armored landscape, studded with the instruments of war, all controlled by a vast computer system that forms the artificial planet's core. On the surface, the sprawling city that was once home to the hostile Warzone race that built the planet lies empty, mute testimony to the veritable mountain of graves that rises just beyond the city's edge. Finally, the telescopic gazes come to rest on the gleaming command console, from which all of Warworld can be controlled, and find it unoccupied. Outside the control room door, a single grave, somewhat newer than the rest, stands in silence, and for a moment, the super cousins wonder if perhaps Mongol, but no such luck. It's him! Then there's still time. If we can reach Mongol before he enters that command console.
Superman, wait! Take a good look behind him.
You mean that building, Kara?
No, beyond that.
I don't understand you. All I see are more buildings.
You're still taking the narrow view. Look further. Study the skyscape beyond all the buildings. And see it for what it really is.
Great Scott! That's the only trouble with having supervision, Kara. Sometimes you get so involved with microscopic details that you miss the big picture.
Those missiles are even larger than John Johns described them.
I'm beginning to think I should never have gotten you involved in this.
But I am involved now. So don't get any silly ideas about sending me home to safety. As long as Warworld exists, no place in all the universe is truly safe. Now come on, let's go pay a visit, or pay Mongol a little visit.
Warworld's automatic alarm system has been activated. Apparently something has entered the satellite's defense perimeter. And it doesn't exactly take any sort of genius to figure out just who that something is. It appears the time has come for me to attempt psychic rapport with Warworld's computer core. And once that is accomplished, thus, the satellite and I shall be as one. Already my perceptions span half a galaxy, and I can see that I assumed correctly. My would-be intruder is indeed Superman, and he's brought his Kryptonian cousin with him. The fools! They merely provide me the perfect guinea pigs with which to test Warworld's capabilities. It should prove a most interesting test indeed. This time, everything will be taken into account. This time, I must not fail. I've already known the bitter taste of failure once in my life. And once is more than sufficient. For years, I was an overlord of an entire world, absolute ruler over billions of beings. And thus, my narrow-minded subjects branded me as a tyrant. They did not understand that to rule well, one must rule with an iron hand. They simply did not understand power. Perhaps that is why they turned against me in the end, and turned to the ancient Archimandrite, who came shuffling down out of the mountains. He had been hiding there for decades, waiting, and now his time had come. The holy man knew power too, it seemed. The power of the word. The power of religious fervor. In a matter of days, he had stirred my people to their boiling point. And at last, I was forced to flee the throne for my life. There was, of course, one small satisfaction. The Archimandrite promptly became an even greater tyrant than I'd ever been. It was a wise man indeed who said that people get precisely the sort of government they deserve. But when I'm done, all the universe will share the same government. Me! Bah! Enough pointless reminiscing. Let the exercise begin.
Kara, look! That flash of fire on Warworld's surface! Mongol has started shooting at us!
I knew our luck was running too good at last.
We've no idea how powerful that missile may be. You better get out of range while I test it.
But
No buts, Kara! Go! I wish I felt half as confident as I tried to sound just now. I faced a lot of weapons in my time, from Brainiac's shrink ray to Luthor's seemingly endless arsenal. But comparing them to Warworld is like comparing the first club to the atom bomb. What if I'm finally in over my head this time? If what I told Kara earlier is true, this missile can kill me. In the vacuum of space, the missile's detonation makes no sound. But small planetoids for countless miles in every direction are instantly disintegrated by the impact. And in the debris that forms the explosion's aftermath, a certain man of steel is nowhere to be seen.
Superman! Cousin! Where are you?
Over here, Kara. Against this rock.
Wow. Look at you. Are you all right?
Yes, but just barely. I've dived out of the missile's path at the last possible instant. But the concussion still jarred me right through to the soles of my boots.
At least I learned something.
What's that?
We could never survive a collision with two of those. Oh my God.
Woo! That was much too close for comfort.
We can't let our guard down, even for an instant, or it'll be the death of us both. The death of us. Of course, that's it. That has to be it.
What are you talking about?
Kara, I think I know how to defeat Warworld. But we'll have to face everything that satellite can throw at us to prove it. Are you game?
Are you kidding? Who wants to live forever anyway?
The incorrigible cretins! They barely survived a confrontation with the least of Warworld's weaponry, and yet they persist in their suicidal attack. Very well then. If it's a war they want, then that's precisely what they shall have.
The merest thought crosses Mongol's jaundiced brow, and a savage swarm of missiles streaks skyward at his command. Even as floating macrolaser cannons cross the star-swept heavens with devastating beams of fire.
Uh-oh! Something tells me Mongol isn't kidding anymore.
Perfect. He's reacting exactly as I hoped he would. Try to evade the macrolaser beams as best you can, Kara, and use your heat vision to trigger the missiles from a safe distance.
Whatever you say, cousin. I'll follow your instructions to the letter. But I still don't see what you're hoping to accomplish by all this.
It's simple. I'm forcing Mongol to put out all the stops. Do you remember that mountain of graves we noticed on Warworld? That's what gave me the answer. The Warzoons weren't buried in a mass grave, as there'd be if the race was destroyed by some great illness.
You're right. The Warzoons must have died one by one. They buried each other. Except for the last one buried by the peace-loving Largus.
Precisely. And there's only one thing on that entire satellite capable of killing the Warzoon one at a time. The control helmet in the command console.
The massive energy drain must have proven too much for their minds to endure. One by one, they were destroyed by their very weapon their warlike race had spent untold centuries creating. One by one, they died, victims of massive cerebral hemorrhage and their own insatiable lust for power.
It worked. The satellite has ceased fire.
And I see Mongol, sprawled on the floor of the floor of the control room, unconscious. We better go collect him before he has a chance to recover.
And then we can start taking Warworld apart, rivet by rivet.
I hate to say it, cousin, but I don't think that's going to be as easy as we hoped.
Huh? The satellite's shooting us again.
It's the one thing we hadn't counted on. Now that Mongol has activated Warworld, its systems are operating automatically.
There may still be a way to beat it, Kara, but it means taking a dangerous risk.
We've come too far to give up now, Superman.
Then listen close, and I'll explain. Using the superventriloquism that has enabled him to communicate in the void, the Metropolis Marvel swiftly outlines his plan. Then, good luck, Supergirl.
Thanks. I think I'm gonna need it.
Kara has nerve enough for an army, but she can't pull this off alone. It's my job to keep the satellite's defense systems occupied, till she's ready to make her move. And moments later, a galaxy away...
I think this should be just about far enough. Now all I have to do is hang a sharp U-turn and make a beeline straight back to Warworld. If this plan is going to work, I've really got to pour on the speed, move as I've never moved before. Have to push myself harder until I reach the speed of light itself and exceed it. I'm only going to get one shot at this, and unless I built up sufficient momentum, I'm going to end up splattered across half the cosmos. So far it seems to be working. I'm traveling too fast for Warworld's weaponry to zero in on me.
Then, at a speed that defies the imagination, the Girl of Steel strikes the gargantuan satellite. Punches through it like a bullet, through a snowball. And her velocity, undiminished, hurtles onward, to be swiftly swallowed once more by the void. By the stars! Kara did it! She punched a hole right through Warworld's computer core. The satellite's powers of self-preservation are astonishing. It's already begun to repair the damage. But Supergirl's sacrifice provided me with just the opening I needed. Before Warworld can turn its inner defenses against me, I've got to reprogram its computers. Then I better grab the unconscious Mongol and get out of here. Fast! What? The control room is deserted. Mongol isn't here, and I can't spare the time to search for him. I've got to put distance between me and this satellite. Now! Despite all our much vaunted power, Kara and I wouldn't stand a chance of defeating Warworld in a head-on confrontation. So I've done the only other thing possible. I redirected the satellite's defense systems in on itself. It's gone. Not one trace of it. It seems the only thing capable of destroying Warworld was Warworld itself. The universe has been saved, at least from this menace. Perhaps wherever they lie, the Largus will rest easier now. And perhaps John Johns will someday forgive me. And that leaves me with just one small problem. What in blazes happened to Supergirl? The answer to that must wait till next issue, when the Man of Steel faces the ghostly guardian called the Spectre. Join us to travel where no Superman has gone before.
And that's the end of this video. So if you guys could like, comment, and subscribe, that'd be appreciated. If you have any requests you want me to do, just let me know down in the comments. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys later.